I'll be recapping a Chinese drama called My Journey to You. It starts with a mother preparing her daughter for marriage to the powerful Gong family. Just then, they get attacked by two assassins. The female assassin starts changing into the bridal gown. The male assassin, whom we'll call handler Yasi, is her handler and reminds her of her mission. She is to infiltrate the Gong palace as a bride contender, become the wife of the next Gong leader, and gather palace intelligence. He tells her the Gong family is from Jiuquan Valley, and it is almost impossible for outsiders to penetrate the heart of Gong County. They also happen to be the only one the assassin organization has no control over. Therefore, this bridal selection that happens once every few years is their only way inside Gong family. At the end of the briefing, handler Yasi tells her that if she fails her mission, she'll be killed by the assassin organization or the Gong family. But if she completes her mission, she is free to leave the assassin organization and live the life she always wanted. Then he gives her the name Yun Weishan and tells her to always stick to that identity no matter what and to never trust anyone. Meanwhile, in Jiuquan Valley, Gong Ziyu is in a brothel with his favorite courtesan. He always runs to her whenever he is stressed because her singing calms him down. On his way home, he stumbles upon a dying undercover soldier who discloses that there's an assassin among the brides. It turns out this is the doing of the assassin organization to intentionally leak this information. Ziyu immediately rushes to inform his elder brother and finds him with his father. His father is the current Gong leader, and his elder brother is the successor. Ziyu tells them about the assassins, and since it's the words of a dying man, they take it seriously. Gong leader immediately orders that all the brides be executed. Ziyu, who has always been kind-hearted, plans on secretly saving the brides since some of them are innocent. That night as they escape, Yun lags behind and takes another route, but Ziyu stops her. He tells her the Gong residence is heavily guarded, therefore she'll surely be captured. Just then, the guards arrive. Thinking fast, Ziyu hides her with his cloak and mask and lies to the guards that the woman is his sister. After reuniting with the other brides, they're about to escape through a secret tunnel when they're stopped by another one of Ziyu's brother, whom we'll call Poison Master. Poison Master poisons the brides since he is determined to kill them if there is a chance they have been infiltrated by an assassin. Yun is about to attack the Gong brothers when suddenly another hysterical bride interrupts her. However, yet another bride holds Ziyu in a chokehold and demands the antidote in exchange for Ziyu's life. Ziyu's elder brother arrives and apprehends this bride, saving Ziyu. As the apprehended bride is being tortured, her flashback reveals she was also sent as a bride to reveal herself as the assassin, which will ensure the safety of the other assassins. Turns out there's another assassin besides her and Yun. The brides get detoxified, and Ziyu visits Yun to get his mask back. At that moment, a servant brings medicine for Yun. Ziyu explains that Jiuquan Valley has a poisonous environment, therefore all the brides have to take the medicine to stay healthy. This is also why they're choosing outsiders as brides, since the poison has affected their women's fertility. However, Ziyu thinks it smells different and suspects Poison Master, so he takes it back with him. His elder brother visits him and teases him about visiting Yun, then promises not to choose Yun as his bride. They're summoned by the Gong leader, and Ziyu realizes he was just a pawn in his father's plan. The father lied that he was going to execute the brides in order to make the kind Ziyu secretly free them and consequently lure out the assassin. Ziyu is upset but still informs his father about the suspicious medicine given to the brides. The father tells him the poisonous environment is getting worse, so Poison Master made the medicine stronger, and that's why it smells different. He berates Ziyu, saying that he would have known all this if he wasn't wasting his time in brothels. Ziyu is humiliated and exits, evidently hurt. Ziyu's brother goes to choose his bride. Yun and Jiang are the top bridal contenders, but he doesn't choose Yun, just as he promised Ziyu. That day, their other brother, Gong Shangjue, arrives for the bride selection. He is in charge of protecting their territory. He goes to see his father and recommends one of the brides for selection, since the head of her family is his friend. However, Ziyu's elder brother arrives and informs them that the assassin bride apprehended happens to be the same one Gong Shangjue is recommending. Therefore, Gong Shangjue leaves the capital immediately to investigate. Yun visits Qian, whom she suspects is the other assassin. Qian is the same hysterical bride who stopped her from attacking the Gongs. Turns out the bridal winner is also there. Qian offers Yun some tea and motions something to her. Yun sprinkles something in the tea, then gives it to the bridal winner. Meanwhile, Ziyu is in his favorite brothel when he gets summoned by the elders, and he thinks he's in big trouble since they're in charge of punishing them. Guards budge into the bride's residence and order everyone outside. The bridal winner's body is seen being carried away, while Yun is nowhere to be found. Qian notices Yun on the roof, so she interrupts the guards from entering Yun's room. She lies that Yun is in her room with a nasty rash on her face. Yun sneaks into Qian's room and takes some poison that gives her rashes. The guards budge in, find her swaddled in blankets, and confirm she does have the rashes. When Ziyu gets to the elders, they inform him that his elder brother and father have been poisoned to death by unknown assassins. Therefore, he's appointed as the next Gong leader, effective immediately. Tearful, Ziyu starts the ritual. First, he drinks his dead father's blood to signify continuation. Then he's tattooed, which means he can never leave Jiuchen Valley. When Poison Master learns of this, he's totally against it and says his brother Gong Shangjiwei is more deserving. That's true, but unfortunately, Gong Shangjiwei had departed, and according to rules, they can't stay without a ruler, so Ziyu was chosen as the next best candidate. Meanwhile, Gong Shangjiwei arrives at the home of the apprehended assassin bride to investigate but finds it deserted. Later, he receives news of the Gong's deaths and Ziyu's appointment, so he leaves for the capital immediately. Ziyu decides to investigate his brother's and father's deaths. He first interrogates Madame Wuji, his late father's current wife, since she was the first one to find the bodies. She says that night she was serving tea to his father when his elder brother arrived with the apprehended assassin bride. She left the room, but when she returned, she saw 3 figures fighting through the paper window. Ziyu asks her why she didn't raise alarm immediately, and she says she did, but strangely, there were no guards outside. Ziyu doesn't believe the assassin bride could have managed to kill his father and brother with her weak martial arts. Madame Wuji says she could have caught them unaware with poison. Then she gives Ziyu a token left for him by his dead father. She says the father regretted being too harsh on him because of the assassin bride, but was too embarrassed to apologize, so he gave the token to Madame Wuji to deliver it to Ziyu. Next, they interrogate the guards and they both corroborate the same story. That when Ziyu's elder brother brought in the assassin bride to his father, they ordered the guards to leave for them to discuss in private. Next, Ziyu investigates the assassin bride's dead body. He finds her hollow hairpin and speculates that's where she might have hidden the poison, but currently there's no trace of poison in it. Ziyu's bodyguard then tells him the top 2 bridal candidates were also poisoned. Therefore, they visit the poisoned Jiang. The physician says she was given 2 poisons. One gave her nasty rashes, and the other made her delirious, but they aren't the same poison that killed Ziyu's father and brother. Therefore, Ziyu confronts Poison Master. He is a master of poison and also adept in medicine. Poison Master tells them the dead Gongs were actually poisoned by a poison invented by Gong family. Ziyu asks him why were they killed by the poison when they were taking the anti-poisoning drugs. These drugs make poison ineffective, and he's the one in charge of making them. He says he's only in charge of making them, but it's the servants who deliver them, therefore Ziyu should ask those servants. Meanwhile, Yun is chatting with Qian. Qian congratulates her for a job well done in assassinating the Gong men. Yun says she didn't assassinate them since that's not her mission is to marry the next Gong leader. Qian says that now Yun will have to marry Ziyu, and Yun says this is also Qian's opportunity since she poisoned the chosen candidate. Qian calls her out for also poisoning the candidate. It's Yun's poison that gave Jiang the rashes, and Qian's poison that made her delirious. But Qian's poison only works if taken while inhaling the incense she was burning, otherwise they're harmless. Therefore even if she's investigated no evidence will be found. So Qian advises Yun to remove the poison from her nails. They move elsewhere, and Qian says her mission is Gong Shangjiwei, not Gong leader. Then Qian figures out Yun's plans. The night they were escaping, she deliberately lagged behind in order to attract Ziyu's attention, then kept his mask so that he'd visit her to retrieve it. Yun had calculated ahead, impressing Qian. However, Yun says she just doesn't want to meet her handler without any information in a fortnight. In their flashbacks, whoever joined the assassin organization had to drink flies' eggs. The eggs would hatch, and the flies would live in their bodies. Usually, they're painless, but if the assassin doesn't take the antidote every fortnight, the flies will torture them. Therefore, Yun and Qian will have to find a way to leave the Gong residence to receive the antidote. But they can only get the antidote if they have valuable intel. Yun says she's going to send the information she's gathered by floating lanterns on the river. Qian thinks she's courting death because the Gong residence has high security. Ziyu and his bodyguard see the lanterns and move to investigate. Ziyu catches Yun escaping, and they get into a heated fight that ends with Ziyu winning. Ziyu's bodyguard arrives with the private message on the lantern. Turns out Yun didn't write any palace intel on it, but rather a fabricated sob letter to her supposed dead father. Ziyu, who had just lost his father, feels empathy for Yun's grief over her deceased father. Then he asks her how comes her rashes are gone. She lies that they were ordinary rashes, not poisoning. So she just went to Qian for some ointment, where she also found Jiang, and they drank tea together. He forgives her for breaking the rules by leaving the bride's residence and then personally escorts her back. At the bride's residence, Ziyu orders an investigation to uncover the truth about Jiang's poisoning. After the guards finish searching the bride's rooms, they bring a suspicious substance found in one of the bride's room. This bride is a bit defensive since outside medicine isn't allowed in the palace, but she insists the substance is medicine for her asthma. Ziyu tells her to consume it if it's truly harmless. She goes ahead and is immediately covered in rashes. She's confused about how that happened, but Ziyu still kicks her out of the palace. Turns out Yun and Qian intentionally framed her. However, Ziyu still needs to find the poison that caused Jiang's delirium, and the suspect is Qian, but she's missing. Meanwhile, Qian is setting her plan into motion, so she visits Poison Master, who happens to be Gong Shangjue's brother. To her luck, Gong Shangjue is also there, so she intentionally shows her jade token. When she returns to her residence, Ziyu questions her about the tea. She says both she and Yun took it but are fine, and Ziyu agrees Yun had vouched for her. Then he asks how she brought in the medicine that helped Yun's rashes, since outside medicine is forbidden. She answers that she brought it on her body, and Ziyu pardons her. Ziyu's bodyguard and sister go to the pharmacy to investigate the anti-poison drugs, and they find out that the drugs sent to Ziyu's father and brother were ineffective, explaining how it was possible to poison them. Outside, bodyguard finds a suspicious man burning medicine ingredients, and after grilling him, he picks up a sample. They take the sample to Ziyu. Since they can't go to the palace's pharmacy to verify the sample, bodyguard brings someone adept in medicine but asks Ziyu not to question his background. This person confirms that using that sample would render the drugs ineffective. Ziyu is summoned by the elders and Gong Shangjue is also there. The elders tell them to choose brides from the candidates since they're of age. Ziyu undoubtedly chooses Yun, and Gong Shangjue chooses Chang. Ziyu says he chose Yun because she tried escaping twice, therefore someone who's trying to escape can't be the undercover assassin, and Gong Shangjue evades answering why he chose Chang. Gong Shangjue leads the conversation again and says that Yun and Qian should stay in a well-guarded dorm for a while until their backgrounds are investigated. Because although an assassin bride was caught, there could be more. That night, the remaining Gong family gathers with the elders. Gong Shangjue openly says he'll never acknowledge Ziyu as the new leader since he deems him unfit. Poison Master accuses Ziyu of being a bastard because of the ambiguity of his birth. Ziyu is infuriated and attacks him, but Gong Shangjue stops them. He slaps Poison Master, then humiliates Ziyu by slapping him too. Clearly, he disrespects his new leader, and he gets away with it. Later, Ziyu interrogates the suspicious pharmacist, and he confesses that he was ordered to use those wrong ingredients by Poison Master, and promises to be their witness. Meanwhile, Yun is chatting with Qian, and she's worried that the background check will reveal that she's an imposter. She wonders why Qian is calm, and she confesses that this is indeed her real identity. The episode ends with Gong Shangjue receiving the background check results in advance and an eerie smile lining his face. Subscribe, like, comment, and share for more content like this. Bye.